Sometimes you don't always realize something's an adaptation until you look it up after watching the film in question. Case in point, As the Gods Will is a 2014 Japanese film that is technically an adaptation of a manga series by the same name. Couldn't really tell you how faithful the film really is, if at all, to the source material, because I never read the source material. All I can tell you is that it is the next installment in my escape room mechanics series that I've been going through, and what a strange film it is. As the Gods Will ultimately follows around a group full of high school students that are suddenly terrorized by incredibly inhuman creatures that force them to play childish games. The trick is, they're games from their youth, but they're also death games. You win, you live, so don't lose. Elephant in the room time. I know I'm not the only person who noticed it, since there was really a small legal issue regarding Squid Game being blamed for copying this film's idea. Yet, it was in all actuality purely coincidental. The Squid Game script was written years before this film or even the original source material came out, so the similarities are oddly unintentional. It wouldn't be a far-fetched guess that if you loved Squid Game, which I definitely did, you'll at the very least enjoy this. It even starts with a red light, green light type of game. Even elements of the colorful visuals reminded me of Squid Game. Similarities or not though, the film is still incredibly wacky yet seriously fun. My wife actually looked over at my screen as I was watching with my headphones on and she said, "That movie looks really stupid, you know." I mean, you can't really fault her for that. It did indeed look stupid because it was highly obscure in its preferred method to lay out its narrative. Every single game is relatable, but the villains leading those games are crazy weird, and they're often fully CGI, almost cartoonish creatures. But the visuals behind those creatures actually weren't all that bad. It was just shocking to see them show up. As far as escape room stuff goes, it's not your typical escape room, but it has a lot of the same tropes, such as people winding up in places that they don't remember going to, then being locked in said room without a real way to escape without solving some kind of riddle or game, and finally, if they don't, they die in a gruesome manner. All of that definitely exists here as well, even if the manner that these characters die in are strange. Their blood is legitimately made of marbles or something. It's not really explained, but it is visually compelling to say the least, so I'm just gonna be accepting that that's the point. It's just a really wacky, sometimes comedic, sometimes dramatic, sometimes emotional escape room. In a world of escape room films that seem to sometimes be all the rage, a film like As the Gods Will honestly makes the entire thing feel fresh and unique. Unlike Fermat's Room, which I recently watched, the fact that it was foreign didn't actually hurt the experience at all. I was actually really invested in all of the different main players of the games. They were all written to be pretty unique in their own little special ways, so in a way each one had aspects that you could either root for or against depending on how you view their characters and what kind of strengths each of those characters possess. There is an obvious protagonist and antagonist human character, though I'm not entirely sure there really needed to be an evil human. They already had their hands full with all of these strange otherworldly creatures, forcing them to play these deadly games. So obviously they had malicious intent. Why couldn't they just be the antagonist, you know? Then again, I guess Cube did the same thing with the Quentin character. I'm actually curious about how the manga series works and where the story is taken from this point forward. But at the end of the day, if you're a fan of escape room films, I think for the most part, you'll get a kick out of this film. You'll laugh, you'll get tense, you'll get confused in a good way, and so much more. Honestly though, it's really hard to explain what it is about this movie that really works. You kind of need to see it for yourself to fully understand. I'm gonna give this a B+ letter grade, which is pretty decent in its own right, though I will say parts of it are a little strange even for my own tastes. But at the same time, I honestly wouldn't mind revisiting this film later on down the road and seeing if my opinion on it has changed at all. But what about you guys though? Have you seen this movie? Are you a fan of it? What is your favorite escape room type of movie? Let me know, and as for YouTube, you guys know what to do. Hit the like, subscribe button, and the bell to be notified when I come out with my next review. And until then, peace out.
shine till my eyes blaze.